So, Jean, you've had an interesting path to arriving at what you're doing. Can you tell me a little bit about your career journey and what you hope from LawHawk, your business?
So yeah, I've been working as a lawyer for nearly 20 years. I guess I qualified in 1997, and I still actually have a practicing certificate, so I am still a lawyer, even though I'm not working as a traditional lawyer anymore. I've always been in the paper pushing side of things and banking and corporate transactions. So there's always been a lot of need to generate documents, a lot of repetition in what we're doing. And so I guess I was always looking for better ways to be able to do that, even from a really early stage. It's just I didn't know that there were technology solutions around that might be able to help. After a couple of years working in a law firm, I sort of had enough. I was working really long hours and it was repetitive and hard. And so I went to work in a bank, and it was while I was there, one of our IT team came by and saw how I was working. And he was so disgusted at the way that lawyers traditionally fill in the square brackets and move through the document, that he helped me to automate a loan agreement just using word macros, so nothing special. And it took about an hour of time down to about 3 minutes. So I was hooked on that. That was back in
so, roughly
99, 2000.
2000, my God.
Yeah. So really early on, nothing special with technology. He stopped replying to my phone calls because I sent him 10 more documents that I wanted him to do, and that was when I first encountered the first real challenge of some of the stuff is how do you actually do it in a scalable way. And so we found somebody else that was prepared to help to get that set of documents done, and I headed off overseas, confident that my legacy was intact, and was really disappointed to come back a couple of years later and find that about a month after I'd left, they needed to make some updates to the documents, and nobody knew how it worked, and so they'd just gone back to working with the template.
How interesting.
Yeah, so that was the second lesson in kind of technology, is that if it's too hard, people they can't maintain it and keep it updated, and all the effort can disappear. So I guess that sort of set the light in my head, though, that this was definitely possible. And so I was always looking for those opportunities, but the challenge you get, I suppose, is when you're a lawyer and you're really busy and you're trying to do all the stuff that you have to do just to get the work out for your clients. You don't really have an idea around what systems are out there or what's possible. You don't have any control over budget, which is an issue.
And that was in-house, with you as an in-house lawyer at that point?
That was in-house and in the firms, really. I mean, the firms have their own challenges of, like whether they even want to do it, but that's slightly different from can you do it? And, you are tending to be reliant on other people who have responsibility for those areas and the budget that goes with it. So we spent a lot of time over many years exploring different ways that we might be able to use existing systems that we had, and that covered everything from some of our IT people really wanted to code their own document automation system, and they built some awesome stuff that was, say, 90% worked, but it was never good enough to be able to do what I needed it to do as a reliable business tool. And it was really not a good use of their time or mine. We tried using sort of other features of other software that we already had that, in theory, were able to do the stuff, but again, it was just so complicated. I spent all my time trying to write instructions to the IT people saying, like, this is what I think I want.
Translate it so they knew what to do.
Yeah, I'd write 70 pages of instructions, and they'd go away and try and reverse engineer that outcome using something that wasn't designed for that purpose. And so the end result was always something that was promising but never good enough to actually use. And so I sort of felt like we were just wasting such a huge amount of time, and the opportunity cost would have been massive if we ever went back and looked at it all again. And so eventually somebody suggested, look, we should use Hot Docs. It's been around for a long time, and kind of it would work. We'd have to pay for the licenses, but we could actually get some stuff done. And so
and Hot Docs is a off-the-shelf document assembly. And we're not here to talk product, but it's interesting, that difference between the desire that one should create the whole thing, or going for a product set, which is a conversation we hear quite a lot out in the market still.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, let's use something that was designed to be, to do this particular thing. So that was the route we headed down. But the challenge we still faced there was that, I was still really busy. I was a partner in the firm by then. I was trying to, run a team. I was trying to do all the other stuff that you have to do. plus give instructions explaining how this whole set of loan security documents was intended to fit together to somebody who's never ever worked in that space, and so they just couldn't comprehend exactly how it was supposed to fit together. So so that was the challenge we sort of had, was it just, how do you actually do this in a scalable way? We sort of had worked out that the technology was there, it was possible, but I just couldn't find a way to get it done fast enough. And so I sort of decided to learn a little bit of how it worked, and taught myself a bit of the coding, and learned enough to be dangerous, I suppose. I sort of set off to do my own loan document, the most complicated loan document I could find, and sort of I picked off a really hard one to begin with, and plowed into it, and I got something going. There was a guy who helped us with the software, who sort of looked and said, "It's remarkable, because it's such an ugly work that I'd done, but it did kind of work." So I sort of I figured that there were ways that you could get this stuff done, but it was a pretty painful process to go through, and I got to the stage where I'd probably had enough of working as a lawyer. I wanted to try something different, and so I sort of had in the back of my mind that there was an opportunity there. That automation was possible. It could do some amazing things. The software had evolved to the point where it was now cloud-based. You could make it available not just within one firm, but potentially across lots of organisations. And so I thought, well, maybe there's a gap there where if someone's going to do it, with my combination of the legal experience and what I've learned along that long journey of trial and error, where I could perhaps make that available as a service. So that was really where the idea of LawHawk came about.
I think the interesting thing for me that I'm seeing now is that people like you are appearing in the market, people who have been through that formal legal, education process and the experience of being a lawyer. And there are a number of organisations I've come across in the last 2 or 3 years that are headed with that, have your real lawyers in it, dealing with the technology piece. So I think that's a really fascinating shift. But this is a topic, when we were talking about this earlier, this is a topic, document assembly, it has been around for a long, computerized document assembly has been around for a long, long time. Why do you, I'm seeing so much activity around it again now. Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a whole combination of factors behind that. I mean, part of it is that the original technology, it was a bit harder to use. Certainly the ones we'd looked at were desktop based. Somebody needed to actually install it and maintain it. You needed a separate developer piece of software to do the development, and it was different people that were needing to do the development from the people who were actually using it. And so I think that those are real challenges. I think a lot of people's experience with document automation has been based, like mine was, around things that aren't actually designed to do that. And so we talk to a lot of people who say, "Oh, I've tried document automation, it doesn't work. It's only good for..."
I did that, it didn't work. Yeah.
Names and addresses, who cares? So I think there's a lot of kind of, not that there's been a huge amount of demand from lawyers anyway, right? Because the clients haven't really been demanding it, and you get paid by the hour. So there's a whole business model set of reasons for why it hasn't been something that lawyers have been particularly interested in anyway. But I think even if you were interested in it, which I was deeply, I still couldn't find an easy way to use it. And I'm sure my partner's got sick of hearing me talking about all this great stuff that was possible and that what I was going to do. It's like, oh, there he goes again, show us when you've done something. So I'm sure there's like a lot of that sort of stuff. And the technology now has moved on a lot. It's like it is cloud based. You can start to involve your clients with it. It looks a lot nicer. It can integrate with other systems a lot more easily. So I think there are sort of elements where it's become an easier thing to be able to access, and it's more scalable in that way. And I think there is more demand coming from the clients, where they're starting to expect to see that their law firms are changing the way they work, and the reason I guess I got so hung up on document automation compared to anything else that I've ever seen is that it just works, and that's because it's been around so long. It's not, there isn't a black box. It's not sort of on the bleeding edge of anything. It really is just a case of picking a process, understanding how it works, like mapping the decision trees. And
I mean, we're on second or third generation products at least, aren't we? If not more.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's just continually improving. Yeah, it's like you don't even see it now because of the cloud stuff is just they're just rolling out updates all the time, so you don't even know that. You
don't even feel it, do you?
Yeah. So it just works. You get an instant result, I suppose, because it's not not training it or anything. You can sort of see if it's working and you can make improvements. So I think it's a product that fixes a lot of problems today, and really at not a great amount of cost compared to the costs of a lot of other things or the time and effort involved in other things.
Other things fit around this. Do you think that the economics of the business of being a law firm are now playing into it? That if you're running a law firm, that actually the focus on how one is making one's profit, what am I trying to say? Is it that law firms, if you think about that 20, 30-year gap, there must be a difference in the shape of the law firms or the mindset of the people at the top. Is that, do you see something in that? I mean, from a business perspective, like, if you don't make a change like this just for the sheer hell of it. You do it because there's a compelling reason. And so something's obviously shifted on the way through that it's pushed you to this role and others like you, and that firms are also, and clients are starting to come the other way too.
I think there's definitely an element of looking for internal efficiencies, which is where I think a lot of us start. Is like, I've got this work, I need to just get it done more quickly because I'm writing off a lot of time. So there is a driver around some of that stuff, which the clients don't necessarily see that. A lot of law firms are actually quite reluctant almost to sort of let their clients know they're using technology in case the client then says, well, I want to pay you.
We'll pay you less.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but it is that. Do you? Oh gosh, there was a thing I was reading the other day about you have to eat. There's something about eating somebody else's lunch, which you go and aggressively go out, but the concept is you eat your own lunch. That if you don't start, chewing up the things, then somebody's going to come and do it to you.
You might as well be first at lunch, I think.
Exactly. It's a bit I was a bit uncomfortable about that analogy, but anyway. So you and I both know that, and you talked about your history and the fact you put so much effort in, and then you left, and then it just fell into a black hole all those years ago. And yet this topic is now ever more pressing for organisations. What have you got a couple of top tips, couple of key bits of advice for a team or a firm thinking about plunging into this or getting the best of it? Yeah,
I think the first recommendation would be to just actually make a start. So it's really easy to overanalyze this stuff, worry about what's the software that I could use or the best documents that I could use, or we commonly see people, I can't make a start until I get my documents absolutely perfect. So I need to go back over them again before they're automated to make sure they're as absolutely good as they could be. And some of that is potentially just making excuses for not making a start. But I think some of it is just overcomplicating something that could be quite simple. So you're better off to actually get your hands dirty and try something and find out what's possible, what you can do, what you can't do. And it's only through doing that you'll get a clearer idea around how this is going to work for you and the best places for you to use it and how you'll use it. And that'll involve, who are the people that are involved and, just internal users, clients. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So you just got to make a start.
Yeah.
I think the second tip would be to choose something small. I mentioned before that that my inclination was to go and find the most complicated
hairiest document known as
exactly. Yeah, it's like this is what I'm just going to blow people away. I'm going to dominate the banking market when I can do this stuff. No one else can go do
the one that the client letter would be would be good.
Yeah, look, if I go back actually to the stuff we did when I was at Westpac, that we did some loan agreements. The thing I got probably the most value from overall was the partial discharge of mortgage, because we were doing so many of them.
Yeah.
To be able to knock them out in 60 seconds with the certificate of non-revocation was actually really useful. The other stuff I didn't do so frequently. So there's a lot of benefit in picking something small, which will give you that quick benefit, the quick win. But you'll also you'll find the first things you do when you look back on them later, it'll be embarrassing. So they'll work. They'll be they will help, but you'll see lots of different ways that you could do things better. And so if you do 10 small things, you will actually start to get some quick benefits, but you'll also start to see opportunities for how you'll do those harder things down the line a lot more scalably. So I think this, as tempting as it is to have global domination of the high end stuff in mind, start a little more modestly and just get some stuff done would be the key. The third thing I'd suggest would be to choose something that you're already good at and that you want to do more of. So we sometimes talk to people about, what could you automate? And they go, I really hate trust deeds. It'd be great if I could automate trust deeds because then I wouldn't have to do them. And it's kind of, yes, it's good in a way. And there is an element of kind of use the automation to get rid of the mundane as sort of one of the marketing things that you see a lot of. But if you think about the bigger picture and sort of your business strategy, you really want to be choosing something that you're already good at, because you're going to have good precedents and good systems for it. You're already going to be doing a lot of work in that space, so you've got the basis of a good strategy, and you can go out and market the fact that you're doing all this work and you're doing it better than anyone else, and you should be able to get more work. So I sort of feel like there's a lost opportunity. If you just automate internal stuff and you don't tell anyone about it, then you're really only going to do the same amount of work faster, and so it's going to be harder to be able to show that you've got a return from that, other than freeing yourself up to do more valuable work, which is good. But there might be opportunities to get a whole lot more work if you focus on something you're really, really good at and align it with your strategy for marketing and selling and growing your practice. So I would definitely look at those three. And the other one would probably be just to take keep that longer term perspective in mind. So you start with the small stuff, the simple stuff, because that's how you're going to learn. But you do have to sort of think in 5 years' time, everybody's probably going to have access to some form of automation for their basic stuff, and that's going to include your clients. And so if that's all you've got, then you're probably not going to be able to achieve the premium returns that you currently do and that you want to continue to get. So I think you have to sort of have a plan in mind for sort of this is only a start and here's where we want to get to, and then make sure that what you're doing is kind of always with that view to kind of growing it and scaling it and making sure that you're choosing the right systems and right approaches that are going to actually grow to where you really want to be, which is doing a lot of the work that you want to do in a way that other people can't do, because that's how you'll actually get a competitive advantage and still be able to charge more premium rates rather than the commoditization that's clearly already starting to happen at the bottom end.
I mean, it's interesting you should say that. Funny you should say that. I was having a chat with the firm about, and those are really those are great pointers, but we were talking about, I wonder why this has been, why we're looking at this. This is almost third time round that document automation has come up. So I was talking to a firm the other day, and they were saying they almost were saying, if we streamline that business, they won't have enough work left. And I thought that was absolutely fascinating, because it says something about maybe what this starts to do is it starts to push at the framework of people's strategies. Is it really by starting to spin that plate a bit faster, it starts to push other things like, do you have a strategy for that group? If they're doing more, can they, if they have capacity, can you win more work? So it starts to really sort of put the pressure on the people that run the section.
No, I agree. I think there's a challenge there. I don't think it's an immediately pressing challenge right now. And I do talk to partners and firms who sort of look at it and go, wow, if you could do all this stuff with automation, then what room does that leave for us?
Yeah, exactly. So we're doing the quality piece.
Yeah, exactly. But But that's not really a problem for today, but it would be a problem in a few years' time if you're not making moves towards, what are the new skills that you'll need to have. So I think the benefit of starting small now is that you can sort of start to, again, work out, well, okay, that I can see now that we're not going to be doing as much of this work because someone else is going to end up doing that, or we're going to be needing to move further up the market. And so what are the skills that we would need for that? Well, maybe it's about deal management, maybe it's negotiation, maybe it's project management, maybe it's kind of all those other things that you could be doing, or sales and marketing, or there's other skills that we'll need to have. So I think there will be a need for that retraining and working out what you will do. It's better to be starting that process sooner than later, I think. You don't instantly become an expert project manager or an expert in negotiation overnight. So planning again for where do you think the future of the firm will be in 5 years' time probably leads you to thinking, well, we will use this technology, but it won't be where we'll be making most of our money. We'll be doing it because that's how we get that first bit of work done. We'll add the most value in some other area.
Well, Jean, it's been fantastic talking to you. I appreciate your time, and perhaps we could do another session and a bit later on and think about one of the other topics a bit more deeply too.
Oh, that'd be great. No, I'd love to.